sabotage, theft, espionage. If something's got to stop, it's got to be stopped.
So, As Told to God Thyself is a piece that I made in connection with the album I made, Heaven and Earth. I had impressions in my mind of really like visions. And so, I basically went to Brad and was like, man, I would love to make a really larger visual piece that would be a part of this album.
You can't really outsource your vision, and in order to be able to execute a vision, you have to understand what's possible and have the ability to make decisions on things.
And then we got together, and he told me what I saw. He saw, I told him what I saw, and it kind of started. It was like a seed was born.
And we kind of like entered it as like a band, where everyone kind of played their own instrument, and no one kind of played the same thing, but it was all complementary and it was all overlapping.
Obviously, you're going to have people that are experts in your crew that can give you different options, but they also have to understand. You have to give them a clear path to follow. Otherwise, it's rudderless.
I'm not in the collective. I'm designing for them, so I really am relying on them a lot too for how to make this space.
We had a mutual friend in Terrence Nance, who I also wanted to work with, but
I remember we met at LAX because I was like leaving town, and around that time he started talking about just some of the characters and tonalities and moments that ended up in the film.
The film is very surreal in a lot of ways, but it's touching on themes and topics that I think are kind of universal to everyone, but it's told through this very specific perspective.
I've always seen Black music as the container of Black consciousness, and so I'm very much so looking at music as music is a constant analogy for me.
I don't think there's ever been space for the Black subconscious to be visualized. I think it's a new thing that there's space for it. So I think that what's happening is highly fragile.
I think, historically films about Black people in America, or most of the things that are widely seen, that focused on Black pain or suffering, which is not irrelevant, obviously, right? But but there's a wide breadth of other things that are going on in the Black experience.
I think we're all on some level experimenting and trying to formulate a new language, that is expressive of these more so intangible things,
You're just getting a lot of different perspectives, and it's about us all sort of honing them into one idea.
We attempt to pull away from the egoic center of making things, the individual egoic center of making things, so that what's coming out is not any of ours, it's everyone's.
It's about self-representation, about making films through our eyes, about how we see things.
I'm mostly working in cinema because of its cultural context and its ability to, en masse, frame and change society.
Cinema is like my weapon of choice, basically, to communicate all the curiosities that I have. We're almost like archaeologists in a sense, right? Like trying to find the small fragments that we're finding. We're trying to find meaning within these things, and as we discover more, we're trying to extrapolate more meaning.
It's because it's not just a film we're making. We're holding space. We're holding space for a prayer for how to raise free Black children.
And I think that it's important because the history of a lot of films have dwelled on, pain and suffering, but then ignored the humanity at the same time.
There isn't any institutional corporate will to support a wide array of Black movies and films that vision the Black subconscious.
There's so many people who have nothing to do with art, who have so much power and influence over it.
A lot of times people have become almost like soulless props to be, to prop up some white hero or something, or some white savior character or something like that.
Like the same stories just keep getting retold again and again, and I'm really interested in the outsider stories, the stories that we don't hear.
And also something that I'm very conscious of as well is not going into communities or going into cultures, making a film and then leaving.
And I think that's important that we start to move away from that and start to show the depth of the community, which includes celebration, which includes creativity, which includes art and love and peace. And it's not just about prisons and ghettos and drugs and violence.
It's kind of like the African idea of like Sankofa, If you want to move forward, you have to go back and get it.
Any system can become numb to a stimulus. You know what I mean? An outrage is a stimulus. It's a consequence.
The means to create art is in a lot of ways slowly but surely falling into the hands of the artists.
Do what you feel is cool. Yeah, don't worry about us.
So I think the next generation has to take up a sensitivity and stewardship of the power of moving images that will reframe the intentions behind making anything.